your game 7:30 on Wednesday, SEC Network. And I don't know if you did see last week, we didn't do a formal press release or anything, but the Kentucky game will be on ESPN regular on Saturday. So with that, Coach, we can start off with a brief statement.
Yep, just happy to be back home. Happy the students are back on campus, and look forward to playing Vanderbilt on Wednesday.
Coach, the people on Twitter wanted to know the story behind these shirts that you've been wearing. Like, is that some kind of deal that you've got, or just for fun because it's associated with Arkansas?
That's a good question, Nikki. A lot of good Twitter stuff, huh? No, it's big sponsors, not of me, of Arkansas. So I'm just big supporters of Tyson.
Just with Vanderbilt and their leading scorer out in Kentucky coming, is there a worry about,
You know what, Nikki, maybe I should, sorry to interrupt, maybe I should, are these questions on your Twitter feed? Yeah. So I can, before I walk in here, I probably need to, okay, all right. Sorry about that.
No, just about with Vanderbilt and their leading scorers hurt, and you got Kentucky Saturday, and obviously teams, fans and everybody look ahead to them. Is that a concern at all?
It's a concern just because it was brought up. I mean, we got one thing to worry about, and it's how do we get ready for Wednesday's game. That's it. It's the most important game on our schedule. They played Auburn great the other night on the road. We got to get ready to figure out how to play Vandy. That's plain and simple.
Eric, is there any analytic you see that speaks to why Isaiah has bigger second halves, scores more in the second halves so far?
I just think he's an unselfish player, and so I think he lets his teammates get involved, and I think for the most part we've kind of been a second half team as well. But from a X and O standpoint, we go to our go-to scores more in the second half. First half, there's a lot of play calls and stuff that are run where 5 guys are touching the ball and we have a little bit more movement. Then the last 10 minutes of the game, we have specific sets with different wrinkles where we're actually, dictating more, so to speak, who's taking those shots or who has the ball in their hands to make decisions.
Coach play a little bit against Ole Miss. What did you like, not like, and do you think that we'll see him against Vanderbilt?
I don't know if we'll see him more or less or at all or a lot. Or he rebounded the ball. He had 5 rebounds in 11 minutes. I think he was one off our leader, and he only played 11 minutes. So we loved JC's activity for sure, getting loose balls. And I think even the game before, he played 1 minute and got a big offensive rebound. So he rebounded the ball. It's obviously an area of deficiency for us. Having said that, he's 1 for 4 from the foul line, and I think that's just a confidence thing and a rust thing, and put that on me because I haven't played him a lot. But certainly we'd like to, we went to the bench a little bit quicker, a little bit earlier against Ole Miss maybe than some other games, and just kind of depends on the flow of the game and matchups and who you think the other team's going to bring off the bench on what we do going forward, and it's probably going to be a game by game and who's in foul trouble or who's not in foul trouble. But I was happy with how he rebounded.
What do you see out of Vanderbilt, and kind of what problems do they present?
Lee's a really good player, can really score the ball. He's a great athlete. Their power forward can shoot the basketball. They're big, had a career night. 12 points, rebounded the ball well. He's a big, strong body. And then obviously Pippen can really get in the lane and keeps getting, as a freshman, keeps getting better and better. But obviously, Saban Lee, just his scoring ability, and we're going to have to contain him somewhat. And those are the things off the top of my head.
Isaiah, I think, was shooting under 20% from three in the corners this year before Saturday, and then he went 4 for 4 there. Was it just kind of a matter of those shots are going to start eventually falling at some point?
Yeah, it's interesting from a analytics standpoint. In the NBA, almost player for player, team for team, the two corners are the highest. And then when you start going foul line extended or free throw line extended or above, the percentages drop. With our team, for whatever reason, we're the exact opposite. So certainly feel like, not just Isaiah, but any of our guys, we feel like those corner threes, we should be able to hit it at a higher percentage, and will, just based on playing more games, and it kind of all evens out at the end of the day. But yeah, we've been a little bit shocked with how well we've shot it from above the foul line, extended and out, and surprised how we haven't hit it at a high clip in the corners.
What's your background with Stackhouse? Have you had a lot of crossing over with him?
Yeah, his brother Tony Dawson I coached actually in Rapid City. Tony is, in my opinion, was probably the best scorer in the last 25 years that I've seen in minor league basketball that did not play in the NBA. Tony played at Florida State, and just through Tony, obviously Stack when he played was known as an incredible competitor. Obviously, his scoring speaks for itself, but anybody in the inner circles of the NBA knows what a competitor he was and how hard he played.
Shift gears a little bit here. I'm doing a story on Jimmy Witt for the AP, and kind of wondering about your relationship with him and kind of the leadership that he's been able to bring the team, having kind of been around the block, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I love coaching Jimmy. He, I got another text this morning, like what do we see as a staff that we can help him? He's just so important for us because he inverts our offense, meaning he roams the baseline and plays like a center or a power forward at times for us offensively. Then there's other times where he's out handling the ball like to start games, and he's running our offense. And every night, no matter who the best point guard, off guard, small forward, or power forward is, he's guarded 1 through 4. We go back to Indiana when he's guarding their best interior player for the entire first half. He's guarding Tyree the other night, the entire game against Ole Miss, and then we changed up our defensive philosophy and had him face guard the last basically 8 minutes of the game. He's in the gym all the time working on little things like his free throw shooting. Cerebral player, great teammate, and somebody that's just really easy to be around. We just got our academic grades back. He did really well there too.
I don't think he's attempted a three-point shot yet. Is that by
He probably
design?
won't.
Or you, when he gets his hands on the ball, are you screaming, don't shoot it, or anything like that, or it's just not part of his game?
Yeah, it's just not. He's a mid-range shooter, and you always want your players to have great shot selection. He's got incredible shot selection. He knows who he is, and usually at this level, what you're trying to do is you're trying to convince each guy who they are, what they do well, understanding themselves, as a player. And he's one guy like he knows who he is. But it's a neat story when you think about a player coming back to a place that he started his career, and then, he was in a good situation at SMU. I mean, he was playing a lot of minutes, and that's one of concern if you have a transfer or a grad transfer and the guy's had a really good role, played for a really good coach, all those type of things, was at a really good school. His mom told me, like, this better work out or she's coming to get me. She made it very clear. She's from New York. She came straight at me in the recruiting process.
I was curious about your defensive efficiency. up to the point it was 49-38 the other night. And then what changed for the rest of the game? How'd you come back?
From a defensive standpoint, we changed how we were guarding. We face guarded Tyree, which then turned the game into a 4-on-4 game. We really haven't face guarded anybody all year. And then we trapped both their guards with Desi. Desi just left his man, and that's called a shadow if it's in the back court or a hit in the front court. And we did that the final 8 minutes. It worked out good, and then my wife was in St. Louis at a dance rehearsal with my daughter, and I told her that story, and she said, "That's great. Why were you so dumb to wait until the last 8 minutes to do that?" So we thought it was good strategically until I talked to Danielle, and she actually told me that you're a moron, and why did you not do that the first 40 minutes?
You commented a little bit on Vandy from the other night. How are they different a little bit without Neesmith in there?
I mean, I think everybody's different without, if a player gets in foul trouble, if Isaiah's in foul trouble for us, if Mace is in foul, like the whole identity changes a little bit. But having said that, it opens up other opportunities for other people. So, the night that Mason couldn't play for us, somebody else got his shots, and so, somebody's going to get his shots, and some of those shots are going to go in. That's just, that's just the nature of. You're not going to lose possessions because you don't have a player out there. You're still going to have your possessions. You're going to have your attempts, but obviously he's a really special player, and a really difficult matchup. Having said that, I mean the only thing we're really concerned with is, who we have to play against on Wednesday, and they're a dangerous team. They are. I think every league game is just so hard to win that, if you don't come mentally ready and physically ready, you're not going to win.
What's something that might have jumped out to your team that you maybe didn't expect from back-to-back road games that you had to grind it out both mentally and physically?
Yeah, I think, our team and myself, we're still getting to know each other in a lot of different areas for sure. I think we know each other's personalities, but when you start talking about a team, how are you going to respond after a loss? And then you have to do it, back-to-back road games and a little bit more travel. And I knew how our Nevada teams were going to respond after a loss. You can pretty much go back and look at the scores after we lost a game. Other than the way that the season ended last year, when we had an injury that nobody really knew about. But up until that point, we had always responded really well, and then we get down, in the second half. And with a lot of teams, if you're on the road on the second game of a two-game back-to-back road trip, and you're playing two games, and you're down 8 or you're down 11 with 7 minutes to go. There's a lot of teams that thing goes up to 17, 18, 19, then maybe you get it back to 12 and the horn goes off and you lose by 12 or 13. This group believes they can win no matter what the score is, and probably the thing that I'm most proud of is I don't think they're up their scoreboard watching, so to speak, and looking at the game score. I think they just play. And they play hard, and they just keep coming at you, and they try to get defensive stops. And when shots don't fall, we fall behind a little bit. But eventually, when shots do fall, we're pretty good because of how we defend. So I was proud of. It's a long answer to a short question.
You mentioned post-game that you thought they might have been a little tired with back-to-back road games. Do you adjust the practice schedule all this week?
No, because now, we don't have to travel. I think last week we adjusted a little bit, but we got to have a good practice today, and we got to have a good practice tomorrow. So, I think last week maybe, adjusted a little bit more because the 2 flights involved, between those games, coming home and then going back out. But with no flights, I think we'll be able – we have more time now. We're not getting rushed to get on a plane.
backup 5 or 4 starts contributing more in terms of rebounding, scoring, the whole thing. How important is that for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like when I think about our backup 4, our backup 5, it's a group of guys. It's obviously Reggie, it's Scylla, it's Ethan, and it's J5. I mean, because we've proven through the course of 3 league games that, you know, there might be nights that we play 5 guards. And so whether it's probably Jimmy Witt's actually probably our center, not J5, but J5 is one of the guys when you look down the bench that you choose to go in. And, you know, probably be every game we play this year, there'll probably be a stretch where there's 5 guards out there and we just wing it and see how it goes. And then if it doesn't go good, we'll get them out as quick as possible. And if it goes well and there's some matchups that we can take advantage of, we'll leave them out there a little longer.
Coach, during the game, the commentators mentioned on the conditioning of the players, of going back and forth and so on. What is it that you incorporated from your NBA experience to them to keep them in such top shape?
Yeah, I think another long-winded thought process. When's practice start, Mike? Okay, got 7.5 minutes. When I was an assistant in college at LSU and Arizona State, I felt like we had 13 players that were eligible to play every night, and I kept saying to myself, why? Because after every game, even when we won, there's like 4 guys unhappy because they weren't playing, or their parents were unhappy, or their AAU. And so it was great to sit back as an assistant and observe. And I'm used to a 48-minute game, 82 games, travel, getting into the hotel at 2:30 in the morning, waking up, playing a game, playing another game, playing another game, playing 4 games in 6 nights. You need depth in the NBA. You play 82 games. In college, you play 30 games. We don't have any 35-year-old players that have played 12 or 13 years in the NBA that are icing their knees night after night after night. And so I thought depth was way overrated in college. And I didn't like walking into a locker room and having guys not be happy with their minutes. So I came up with the formula. I wanted 4 guys sitting out, or I wanted 4 scholarships where guys were either redshirting, sitting out due to transfers, or open scholarships. And that way I felt like you could control your team chemistry in the locker room. That's above the conditioning standpoint. Then you get to your conditioning standpoint, and now you got to get with your staff and say, hey, we got 4 dudes sitting out. Now we've got to be the best conditioned team. And I think our limited roster size over the 5 years that I've been in college has worked to our benefit so much. I watch these teams play night after night after night. And they play us, and they start playing more people. And I saw it non-conference, and I'm starting to see it. And they start playing more people because they think they're going to wear us down. You're not going to wear us down. We've worked too hard in the summer. And the other thing, too, is our guys can play through mistakes because I'm handcuffed. I don't have a bunch of guys to throw in the game. So if one of our guys misses a defensive assignment or misses a jump shot, he stays in the game. And so you play with a little bit more mental freedom, I guess. It's pretty long. Thanks.